that, and it may not be, all the guys at once doing it in the same game. It's one week it may all be Curtis, another week it may be, Terry, it might be Jahan, it might be Dami. It's just, or the tight end position for that matter. It just depends on the flow of the game and based on, the calls and then the reads and the progressions.
Ron, we've asked you before about Sam relaying the plays on offense. What about for the other side of the ball? How challenging is it, what's the biggest challenge for in this case, Cody Barton, to spit the plays out quickly to teammates?
The challenge?
Yeah, I mean, just is it that simple? You just hear it and boom, or is there any complications?
Yeah, you get the huddle call and you make the call, and then they pass it along. If it's a hurry up offense, some of it will be just being able to word of mouth. Others they may have to make some hand signals. I mean, it just depends on what the offense is doing and how much time we have in the huddle. Some of the things that we do are matchup based, and Jack wants to get the appropriate people in and have the right call for it.
And in terms of the linebacker play, obviously the defense was a lot better this game than it had been the previous one. What did you see from that group, and from how did Cody benefit from what the guys up front were doing?
Well, I think really what you saw, when you break the tape down, you saw the linebackers really running, playing fast. I think one of the really good things about this past week was, it was a very physical up front game, and the D-line was playing vertical into their creases. They captured their gaps. Makes it a lot easier on the linebackers in terms of their responsibilities of playing downhill, taking the doubles off of the defensive linemen. They played fast. They were very active. Both guys had tremendous production in the game, and for the most part, I thought they handled their assignments very well.
Ron, these Giants games in particular recently have been very tight, close games, one-possession games. What are these two teams? How do you guys bring out the best of each other? Because these games are always so tight when Washington plays the Giants.
For the most part, it's divisional. I think that's probably the biggest one more than anything else. It's a divisional game, and you're going to play against your divisional rivals a little better. At least I believe you typically should, because you know them a little bit more. And because of that, I think that's what really brings the game to being pretty evenly matched.
Just one win, right, against Atlanta, but a much-needed win. What can a win like that just simply kind of maybe turn the tide, get that confidence, get that momentum going again?
Well, I mean, that's basically it, is to play with confidence, to understand and know what you're capable of. And in the fashion we did it, there were some things that we really want to build off of, most certainly, and there's some things that we most certainly want to correct. I mean, defensively, we did some really good things. We capitalized on the takeaways when we had those opportunities. We missed a couple opportunities early on in third down, so we want to be better there. Offensively, we capitalized on field position. We capitalized on early on in our drops early in the game. But then basically what amounted to a 4-minute offense, starting to right around the 8-minute mark, we weren't very good. And those are things we want to get corrected. And we do talk about constantly, about lowering the sack total. That, and again, that's twofold. That's some things that we can do up front better, and some things we can do better as the quarterback.
Coach, going into Sunday's game against the Giants, it's still unclear whether Daniel Jones will play. The question is, do you prepare differently, whether it's Tyrod Taylor or whether it's Daniel Jones playing on Sunday?
Well, you do pay attention and respect who they're going to, who's playing first and foremost. I mean, they're both very qualified quarterbacks, but you also prepare for what they do and how they do it. I mean, in our minds, we always expect to see their best, and so we're going to prepare for what they do the best. And for each one of the quarterbacks, it's I don't know if it's that much more different. You know what I'm saying? Because Tyrod's such a veteran guy, I think he could adapt to anything that their coach wants to do. Whereas with Daniel, they're gonna do the best they can and prepare him the best they can, and so we'll be ready for both of them, either one.
And how do you exploit the fact that this team they don't have a passing touchdown in 4 consecutive games? Is that something you're looking at, or you think it's something they're gonna get out of soon?
Well, it could be anything. I mean, again, things happen and don't happen based on certain things, and. The thing that we have to do more than anything else is just go out and play our game. And we can't worry about what they've done and haven't done. We got to really focus in on what we can do and how well we can do it.
Ron, how do you kind of balance the individual development of your players offensively, obviously Sam being foremost, with their development as a group together?
That's a great question, David. Just because of the fact that you want certain guys to grow and grow quickly for us. The running back position has been one that, with the style of offense is a little bit different. Asking the running backs to be a little bit more patient to help set up their blockers a little bit better, and and we have flashes of it. You really see it. I mean, there's some really good runs, in the Philadelphia game. Some really good running in the second half of the Bears game. And then some really good running from the different combination of the guys in Atlanta early on, the first 3.5 quarters. And, part of that is, them growing and developing and understanding it. But then you turn around and, like I said, you get to the last 6-7 minutes of the game and, we didn't run the ball the way we needed to. We weren't patient. We were hurrying, and so it's important that, that the development of the player, is equal to the development of the offense as a whole. I mean, because again, it's, those guys working together in tandem. I mean, the understanding what the protections are as a blocker, and what it's going to do in terms of the depth of the quarterback. Is it a 5 or 7 step? What's the timing and all those things? Those things are all invaluable. And it's the same thing with the route running. You're supposed to run that route at 12 yards and you run it at 10. You're making your break before the quarterback set. Now you're going to be further along in your route, and he's throwing it in. It could be potentially throwing it into a hazard. So those are things that it is important that individually you grow. I think you almost have to grow quicker individually to fit into what the growth of the offense is.
With the difference, you see the numbers, the difference between when you guys don't take a sack and when you do is stark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the offense is explosive when you don't take a sack.
Oh, no. I mean, you look at a lot of those drives and going back and looking at them, that there is no sack, and it's just, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Similar to David's question about the offense and growing. Emmanuel Forbes obviously is a rookie. You guys played him and then sat him. Kind of where's your balance with a player like that in terms of him growing, resetting versus obviously wanting to win games?
Well, it's that. I mean, we look at certain things and we know what he can bring to the table. We've seen it. And so it's about trying to find that balance of, you get to a certain situation and say, you know what, let's sit him for a while, let's let him grow. I mean, we went through the same thing with Jamin. And look at him now. I mean, the young man's really come a long way. He's done some really good things for us, and we're pretty excited about who he's become. And I would say the same thing about Emmanuel. It's going to take a little bit of time sometimes. And as he grows and to what David's point and your point as well is that, there is a certain spot where, it is about winning. And we went through that my very first season. We tried something my first 4 weeks, and I just felt, you know what? I owe it to doing something different, and I did.
What is about Emmanuel's personality lets him handle this as well as he seems to be handling this so far?
He's a natural corner. I mean, he understands and gets that you have to be ready to move on to the next thing, and in the meantime, you just do the best you can and get yourself ready to go.
After 5 games, what have you made of Chase Young?
Can I use 6 games?
But he's played 5 games.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what you've thought of the first 5 games so far.
I mean, he's done exactly what we've asked. He really has. I mean, he's done some good things. He's very dynamic. He's got some explosion to his game. I mean, it's he's doing a great job.
And you guys have faced a lot of 3rd and longs. I know that a part of that is sacks, but are there other things you guys can do on maybe 1st and 2nd down to stay ahead, or I guess is there anything other than the sacks you can do to stay ahead of the stakes?
Well, I mean, again, it's if you want to try and stay out of 3rd and long, you just got to be better on 1st and 2nd down, whether it's running it or throwing it.
Speaking of the sacks, how impressed have you been with Sam's toughness?
Oh, believe me, I'm very impressed with that. He's a tough young man. He does a great job. He's a very resilient guy. I mean, it's one of those things when you watch him and I think that's part of when he runs the ball. He kind of feels like he can handle it, and that's great. But we'd much rather see him slide a little bit more. It was good to see him slide when he got the first down and protect himself. I mean, he's a very tough, smart, sharp, resilient. I mean, just just the kind of guy that gets, his teammates get behind him, and it's really kind of a neat thing.
Talking with some of the linemen, they recognize that it's a holistic thing for the offense, but that they get frustrated that the sack totals. How do you try to make sure the whole team understands that it's 1 through 11 out there? It's not on any one person.
I think they all understand that. I mean, I don't think it's something that we need to point out. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and they're sharp enough. They understand what's going on out there, and I think the one thing that a lot of the people do appreciate is the growth and development it's going to take for Sam. I mean, this is a first-year quarterback, first year starting. There's a lot of bumps in the roads, and we got some young guys that are out there playing with him as well, and so there's some growth that needs to happen. But at the end of the day, they're doing the best they can. They're playing hard, they're learning, they're growing, they're developing. I mean, we get it. But just knowing that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Coach, this week, Jamison Crowder got, Special Teams of the Week honors. What can you say about his performance thus far and just the importance of what he brings to that position overall? I think what's been really cool about Jamison is, he came in and has had to learn a lot, not just our special teams, but he had to learn our offense. And what's really neat to watch him is the professionalism in which he approaches everything, how he's working with a lot of our young guys. He's been working with Kaz Allen, helping him in terms of trying to learn and grow and develop as a slot receiver, but also as a punt returner. And so it's been kind of cool watching, the veteran guy help the young kid out. He's got a little sage wisdom to him. I think the guys respect that from him as well. I mean, he's been great to have around, and he's a dynamic returner. And I think what it's done is given our guys, a little bit of a jolt, a little bit of shot in the arm, knowing that you have an explosive guy back there. And so when I know they're on the huddle on the sidelines and Coach Kaiser's talking to him, he's telling him, hey, just give this guy a chance, just give this guy a shot. And they did on Sunday, and we saw the result. And a lot of fans traveled to Atlanta this past weekend. How much of that was a boost for you all?
That was cool. Our players talked about that. In the locker room, just listening to the guys after the game talk about how cool it was to see as many fans that were there. It was really neat that they came out in force too. It really was. When we were leaving the game after the field after the victory, just having them cheer us was really a neat thing, and that's what the guys really talked about. Is they could hear the fans, but the applause they were getting when they were coming in after the game, that really kind of excited those guys.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.